Sunday, the 18th of December, when Emil did such a noble deed that the whole of Lonenberger was proud of him, and all his past tricks were forgiven and forgotten. It was getting near Christmas. One evening, everyone at Cattelt was sitting in the kitchen, busy at his own task. Emil's mother was treading the spinning wheel. Emil's father was mending shoes. Lena was carding wool, and Alfred and Emil were carving teeth for the hay rakes, and little Ida was enjoying herself playing a children's finger game, which interrupted Lena's work. "You see, I have to do it to someone who's ticklish," said little Ida, and Lena was the ideal person. Ida walked her fingers slowly up Lena's dress, reciting the little rhyme. "Father mine and mother mine, give me a little flour and salt, for I must kill my Christmas pig, and when I kill him he screams." And when Ida came to screams, she poked Lena with her finger, and sure enough, every single time, Lena screamed and laughed to Ida's great delight. Emil's father was listening to the rhyme about "kill my Christmas pig," and it must have started him thinking, because suddenly he said something awful. "Yes, it nearly is time. It's about time for you to kill your pig, Emil." Emil dropped his knife and stared at his father. "No one is going to kill Piggy Beast," he said. "He's my pig. The one you gave me for taking the pledge, don't you remember?" Of course, Emil's father remembered, but he said that no one in the whole of Smarland had ever heard of a pet pig, and Emil was enough of a father to know that pigs had to be slaughtered when they were fat enough, because that was the only reason for keeping them. "You ought to know that," said Emil's father. Yes, Emil knew it all right, and at first he couldn't think of an answer, but then he had an idea. "I'm enough of a father to know that lots of pigs are kept alive so they can grow up to be boars, and I've thought of that for Piggy Beast." Emil knew what a boar was, but in case you don't know, I'll tell you that it's a pig who will become the father of lots of litters of little pigs, and Emil, being a clever boy, had thought that to be a boar would be the salvation of Piggy Beast. He explained that to his father. He would easily be able to find a sow for Piggy Beast, and then Piggy Beast and the sow would have masses of little piglets. Well, that sounds all right," said Emil's father, "but it will be a poor sort of Christmas here at Cattelt with no ham or sausages or blood pudding or anything." "Give me a little flour and salt, for I must make my good blood pudding," said little Ida, but Emil snapped at her. "Shut up about making pudding!" For he knew perfectly well that you need to have pig's blood as well as flour and salt to make blood pudding. But not Piggy Beast blood, unless it was over Emil's dead body. There was a silence in the kitchen for some time, a very unhappy silence. But suddenly Alfred swore. He had cut his thumb with his sharp knife, and the blood was pouring from it. "Swearing isn't going to make it any better," said Emil's father sternly, "and I won't have those words in my house." Emil's mother fetched a clean piece of cloth and bandaged Alfred's thumb. Then he continued carving teeth for the hay rakes, as this was a job that had to be done in the winter. All the rakes had to be checked over and new teeth fitted where necessary, so that the rake would be ready for spring. "As I said, it's going to be a poor Christmas here at Cattelt," said Emil's father, gazing gloomily at the wall. Emil couldn't go to sleep for a long time that night, and the next morning he broke open his piggy bank and put 35 kroner in his pocket. Then he harnessed Lucas to an old sledge and drove to Baseful, where they had a lot of pigs. And he came home with a fine fat pig, which he put in the pigsty with Piggy Beast, and then he went to see his father. "Now there are 2 pigs in the pigsty," he said. "Go on and do your slaughtering, but I'm warning you, don't you make a mistake." Emil was in a great rage, one of those rages that sometimes came over him, but he didn't care if he was talking to his father. Buying Piggy Beast's life by having another poor pig killed in his place made him feel awful. But there was no other way to stop his father, because he simply didn't understand about pet pigs. Emil didn't go to the pigsty for 2 days. He let Lena feed the pig. On the morning of the third day he woke, and it was still pitch dark, and he heard a pig screaming for dear life. It was a high, piercing scream, and then suddenly silence. Emil blew on the frosted window-pane to make a peephole and looked out. He saw a lantern shining down by the pigsty and dark shadows moving about. Lena stood there stirring the blood that poured out of the pig, and later Alfred and Emil would scald it and shave it and cut it up. Then Krosemeyer and Lena would stand in the wash-house and clean it, and that would be the end of the baseball pig that Emil had bought. "When I kill him, he screams," muttered Emil, sliding back under the bedclothes and crying for a long time. But man is made to forget, and so did Emil. Early in the afternoon he sat for a while on the pigsty wall, scratching Piggy Beast's back, and then he said thankfully, "Well, anyway, you're alive, Piggy Beast." Then he decided to forget about the baseball pig, and the next day Krosemeyer and Lena sat in the kitchen cutting up pork as fast as they could, and Emil's mother stirred sausage meat and cooked blood pudding and cleaned the Christmas ham and put it in brine. And Lena was singing, "Cold, cold weather is blowing from the sea," and Krosemeyer was telling the story about a ghost in a graveyard that had no head, and Emil enjoyed all of this and thought no more about the baseball pig.